What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy TTG here, and today we've got a brand new video for you, and I hope you guys are looking forward to it. First round of the playoffs are behind us. All right, now we're moving on to the second round, and to start off my content on the second round of the playoffs, I'm going to be breaking down the Peach Bowl coming up on New Year's Day. So the number 5 Texas Longhorns. These are seeds, not rankings, because I can't remember what they're ranked. But the number 5 seed Texas Longhorns, 12-2 on the year, and the number 4 Arizona State Sun Devils, also 2 losses on the year, but 11 wins. Well, they will play on January 1st, New Year's Day, 1:00 p.m. at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm pretty sure that they'll have the top closed. I know it's a retractable top, but I think they'll have that closed for the game. So weather is not going to be an issue in this game. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So Texas on the year, like I said, 12-2. They have lost to Georgia twice. It's the only team they've lost to. They lost decently bad the first time, 30-15, and they lost 22-19 the second go around. They have beat Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Michigan are probably their best wins. They did in the first round just beat Clemson at home. Defending their own home turf, they beat Clemson, so that's another good win. They looked pretty good doing so. In my opinion, I thought the game may be a little closer. Texas kind of did what they want to on offense, especially in the run game. They were able to establish the line of scrimmage and run the ball at will. Something that not a lot of teams can do on Clemson, but Texas did that. I was impressed. 38-24, big win in the first round of the playoffs. Stop what you're doing right now and click the subscribe button. I'm doing a giveaway. If I can hit 1,000 subs before January 1st, I'm giving away a jersey of your choice. You can have this great jersey if it's still for sale. I don't know. But a jersey of your choice to one of my subscribers. Please click the subscribe button. Appreciate you guys. Now, their counterpart in the Peach Bowl, Arizona State, they have 2 losses as well. They lost at Texas Tech on the road, and they lost to Cincinnati on the road. That Cincinnati loss is kind of confusing me. I don't think Cincinnati's that good. They finished like 3-6 in the conference and 5-7 overall. Texas Tech was a little better, 8-4 overall, 6-3 in the conference, so not a bad team. But down the stretch, they did put together some pretty impressive wins, in my opinion. They went on the road in Manhattan, Kansas, and beat Kansas State, who was hot at the time, who was ranked at the time. Then they beat BYU. I'm not sure if BYU was still undefeated at that time, but BYU only lost 2 games all year. One of them was to Arizona State. And then they beat Iowa State to end the regular season. So I think that was the Big 12 title game, I'm pretty sure. If I'm not mistaken, that was the Big 12 title game when they beat them. I'm almost positive. Convincingly beat them too. Cam Scatterbo's a dog. Sam Levitt is a lot better than people lead on to be. He's a good player, in my opinion. So, that was just a little background on the records. Neither team has impressive resumes, in my opinion. I think Texas's resume may be a little bit better, especially if you add in they lost to Georgia twice. I guess those are 2 good losses. They don't really have really good wins. I mean, unless you count the playoff. Clemson is a pretty good win. I guess Vanderbilt at the time was a decent win. I don't know. Arizona State may have the better resume down the stretch. They beat BYU, Kansas, and Iowa State. I don't know. Like I said, neither resume is like overly impressive in my opinion. So, yeah, look for a good matchup. I think these teams are kind of similar. A little bit. Maybe not. Let's just break it down and I'll let you guys decide. So we're going to start with the Arizona State offense. The Sun Devils usually lean on the rushing attack. They do it for good reason. They have Cam Scatterbo. So under Kenny Dillingham, the Sun Devils employ a pro-style offense. They incorporate a variety of formations, and a lot of times they'll adapt game plans and put in specific formations based on who their opponent's going to be. So Kenny Dillingham is really good at, I guess, game planning and scheming to come up with ways to put his players in the best situations to succeed. On offense, the team, Arizona State, the Sun Devils, they average 33.1 points per game. That puts them 25th nationally. Nothing too crazy there. 25th nationally is respectable. But again, you got to look at who they've played. Yards per game, they average 423 yards per game. That makes them 30th in the country, pretty much on average with their points per game. Yards per play, this is a stat I like. They average 6.2 yards per play. That's 23rd nationally. So a little bit better than the other two, but around the same. They're between, 20 to 30 in the nation in pretty much every offensive category that I've looked at. This is where they're above average, in my opinion. The team converts 46.5% of third downs, and that's 14th best in the country. So on third downs, they're the most crucial downs, obviously, on offense. If you convert those, then your drive continues. If you don't, a lot of times you're not going for it on fourth down, you're punting the football. So if you can convert on third downs, you extend drives, you keep the opponent's defense on the field, wear them down, and ultimately it leads to points if you convert enough of them. So like I said, their offense is shaped on a good ground game, and that's led by Cameron Scadaboo, whatever. I watched him for the first time live. He's been my player of the game several times this year just based on pure stats alone. But I watched him in the Big 12 championship game, and his balance is unreal. He's not like overly fast. He's not overly going to run you smooth over, but he initiates contact and he survives contact, and he picks up yards after contact. And through the run game, open up the pass game. Sam Leavitt's more than capable of passing the ball, as you can see. In the passing game, I mean, you can see in the Kansas State game, according to what I have here, he threw for 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. So they can throw the ball as well. They're a good balanced offense, in my opinion. And the key players on offense, obviously, are Cam Scadabo. Like I said, initiates contact, survives contact, and gets yards after contact. Those three things is what that kid excels at, in my opinion. Sam Leavitt, true freshman. I think he transferred in from Michigan State, maybe. I don't know. He's a transfer. The kid still has 3 more years of eligibility, and the kid is good, like really good. I watched him in the Big 12 title game as well for the first time live. Phenomenal. I thought he did a great job. He takes care of the football and, puts his team in position to win. Jordan Tyson at wide receiver is another guy to watch out for. I think he's their leading guy as far as catches and yards. He's their primary target. The receiving core it's not as impressive as probably Texas's, but not bad either. As far as their most recent success they had in the Big 12 championship game, it was glaring how much offensive success they had. They had 464 total yards, 245 rushing, and 219 passing, so a pretty good balance there. Even a little more rushing than passing, probably because down the stretch they were up big and they were running clock. That just shows that they can do both. Now, will they be able to do both against the Texas defense? We're going to cover Texas defense in a minute. Very impressive very impressive unit on that side of the ball for the Longhorns. So now we're moving on. Let's talk about the Texas offense. The Longhorns offense in 2004 has been pretty good. Not bad. We know Steve Sarkisian can dial up a game plan, much like Dillingham. He's going to put his playmakers in space, and he's going to come up with schemes that put his players in the best situation possible to succeed, obviously. Sarkisian runs a pro spread offense. I mean, it's basically a pro style with spread formations intact, and he's going to do what he needs to exploit the defenses. He can run it, especially towards the end of the year. I think the only two times they haven't ran the ball effectively, in my opinion, or especially recently, the only time they haven't ran the ball effectively was against Georgia. So that's hats off to Georgia and being able to scheme that up and stop them, right? But down the stretch, they've ran the ball pretty well, like I said, with the exception of Georgia. So for points per game, the Longhorns are right around the same as Arizona State, 33.9. That puts them 23rd nationally, according to what I've got here. Total yards per game, 448. So about 20 yards more than Arizona State per game. That puts them 19th in the country. So top 20, impressive. Especially, they're probably playing a little bit more high caliber defenses than what Arizona State's playing. But again, neither resume is that impressive outside of Georgia. So passing yards per game. So here's the actual breakdown of theirs. They have 275 passing yards per game. That's a credit to Quinn Ewers. That's a credit to the couple games that Arch Manning started. He contributed as well. But 275 yards a game is pretty good, in my opinion. And as far as rushing the ball goes, 173.5 yards per game. I don't know where that ranks nationally. I didn't mark that down. But that shows you that they have a somewhat balanced offensive attack. They can run it. They can pass it. They probably would prefer to pass it a little bit more, especially if they have Isaiah Bond healthy. We'll talk about him in a minute. I think he's on my key players. He may not be because he hasn't played recently, but hopefully he's back for the Peach Bowl because they need him. So when it comes to passing, obviously they're led by Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is an interesting topic of discussion, especially right now. Will he come back for his senior year? If he does, I don't think it's going to be at Texas. I think it'll be elsewhere. I think the Longhorns are ready to move on to Arch. Not saying that's not a slight at Quinn. Quinn's great. It's just his chapter, I think, in Austin, Texas, has come to an end. So if he doesn't go pro, I think he'll be with another team next year. He'll probably make a fair amount of money in the transfer portal as well. He leads the passing attack. Obviously, Arch Manning can throw it too. And in certain packages, you're going to see Arch in there, more than likely to run the ball. Although against Clemson, we did see him attempt to pass when he came in, like cold off the bench and attempting to pass. I liked it. So last year in the Sugar Bowl, we saw Quinn in these in a high pressure situation, like he was again against Clemson, and he flourished in both. I felt like he threw for 318 yards and a touchdown in the game against Washington. I'm not sure what his stats were this past game on Saturday, but he played well. I think he played plenty good enough to give his team a shot to win. If he plays like that again against Arizona State, they're going to have another great chance to win the game. The rushing game would be spearheaded by C.J. Baxter and Jaden Blue, but C.J. Baxter suffered a season-ending injury, so it's been the Wisner kid, I think is his name, and Jaden Blue have been spearheading the backfield, and they can get after it. They really can. It sucks that they're missing Baxter because that would be even another piece to the run game, and he's dynamic. He's really good. 175, essentially 175 yards a game is really good as far as the rush game goes. Offensive line. They returned 4 starters from last year, and I think they've been great all year. Now, early in the year, I think they did, if I remember correctly, I think they did struggle to run the ball somewhat. But down the stretch, they've been fantastic. They can run the ball. With the exception of Georgia, like I keep having to say, they've been able to run the ball at will pretty much. You saw what they did to Clemson's defense, and Clemson's defense is not bad, especially in the run game. I feel like they're above average, and they just torched them. So the key players for Texas in this game are Quinn Ewers, obviously. He's a leader. He's an upperclassman. He's played in these games before. He needs to perform well for his team to have a shot to win the game. Jaden Blue, I think with the absence of Baxter, obviously he needs to step up along with Wisner. Wisner may even, let me look up at this guy's name so I don't sound like an idiot. Yeah, Quintravion Wisner is his name. Okay, I didn't want to sound like a total moron. Those two are going to be important, and especially in this game, I think Texas is going to look to establish the line of scrimmage, establish and run early and often, and then the same thing that Arizona State should do as well. You want to establish the run, you want to jump on them early, so I think Jaden Blue is probably another player to look out for in this game on offense. And then Kelvin Bates Jr., left tackle. I think he's the anchor of their offensive line. I think he's their best offensive lineman. I think he's going to be a surefire Sunday guy. He's just good. So, yeah, look for those guys to make impacts on offense. So, I do have the stats here, sorry. In the first round of the college playoff against Clemson, the offense had, so in their most recent performance against Clemson, they threw the ball for 202 yards and rushed for almost 300. So, pretty impressive day on offense for Texas. I think probably Arizona State's defense is not even as good as Clemson. So, if Texas can do that to Clemson, what will they be able to do to Arizona State? We're going to find out. All right, now let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. And again, we're going to start with Arizona State. Obviously, defense coordinator Brian Ward has done a decent job. I don't think the defense is anything to write home about. They're pretty much average in a lot of categories, but they run a 4-2-5. They have a lot of speed and versatility on the defensive side of the ball. They're starting to play a little bit better, but they're still not great, in my opinion. According to the stats I have, they allow 21.3 points per game, which is 30th nationally. Again, they're not playing a whole lot of high-powered offenses out there in the Big 12, but still pretty good. 21 points a game is not bad. Total yards allowed per game is 336.9. Again, not bad. Not great, but not bad. Passing defense, 219 yards allowed per game. Not great, not bad. And then rushing, as far as rushing the ball goes, teams average 117.5 yards per game on Arizona State's defense. Not great, not bad. The team averages about 1.3 sacks per game. They have 17 on the year through 13 games. So it's not like they're killing the quarterback every game either. So, like I said, this defense, the Sun Devil defense, is a lot of average. But 3 players you should watch out for, in my opinion. Miles Rouser, defensive back, leads the team in tackles and he's a pivotal role in the secondary. He's a guy they're going to look to make plays, both in the run game and in the throw game. And then Clayton Smith, defensive lineman. He's their top pass rusher, in my opinion, 4 sacks, and he gets a lot of pressure on the quarterback. And then Elijah O'Neal, another defensive lineman, has 4 sacks as well. And so him, between Elijah O'Neal and Clayton Smith, they account for over half the team's sacks. Or no, under half the team's sacks, but right at it. They account for 8 sacks out of 17, so right there at half. And as the year has progressed, they've really gotten better in the run game. I think early in the year they were getting kind of gashed by decent running backs, and they've toned that down quite a bit. And now that they've brought the average down to 117, again, not great, but not bad either. It could be a lot worse. Now let's talk about Texas's defense. This unit is one of the best in the country, in my opinion. We know stats aren't everything, but the Longhorns, again, they run a 4-2-5 as well. And what a 4-2-5 does is it emphasizes putting athletes in space, in my opinion. You have 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 DBs. That's what most of their formations are based off of. So according to what I've got, they allow 261 yards per game, 3rd nationally. Pretty good. Passing defense, 156.9 yards per game, 2nd nationally. Rushing defense, 104 yards per game, 10th nationally. So top 10 in all 3 categories: rushing defense, total defense, and passing defense. Some key players to look out for Texas. Anthony Hill Jr. leads the team with 100 tackles. He has 16 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks. So he's very dynamic. He can fit the holes in the run game, and he can rush the passer. Great player. Love Anthony Hill Jr. Then we got Jahdae Barron. He's a pivotal player in the secondary. He has 5 interceptions. So the ball seems to find him, and he can come up and make a tackle as well. Don't get it twisted. And then another guy, Colin Simmons, he has 8 sacks. Defensive end. These guys can get after the passer. They can. One of the best units in the country at rushing the passer. So you saw what they did to Clemson. Clemson scored 24 points. They did get kind of thrashed in the throw game, didn't they? They gave up like 350 yards passing. So we'll see. I don't think that Arizona State has the kind of playmakers on the outside that Clemson does. They're not bad, but they're not like Brian Wesco Jr. or what's the other guy? I can't remember the other guy's name that went crazy against Texas. But Justin Moore, maybe something more. I don't know. Either way, I expect Texas's defense to get busy. I do. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of position by position breakdown, and this is just my opinion. Take this with a grain of salt. At quarterback, it's either Quinn Ewers or Sam Leavitt. I lean Quinn Ewers. So Texas wins the quarterback, in my opinion. Sam Leavitt's great, and I think he's going to be a great player for a while in college. Running back, if it was CJ Baxter, I may even give CJ Baxter the nod here, but Cam Scatterbo is a hoss. And watching him in the Big 12 championship game, I got to go Cam Scatterbo. So I'll give Arizona State the running back nod. O-line, Texas, no question. Arizona State's O-line is decent, not bad, but Texas O-line has been really good down the stretch. Wide receiver, I don't think this is a question, especially if they have Isaiah Bond. Give me Texas. A lot of playmakers on the outside to get the ball to. Defense, I don't think this one's close at all. Texas. I think Texas has by far the better defense. I think that's going to be the difference in the game. My final prediction for this game, I'm taking Texas. I'm taking them 34-21. I think they dominate the game. I think this score is not indicative of how dominant Texas is going to be in this game. It's probably like 34-14, midway through the fourth, something like that. Texas is cruising. They put in Arch, let him get some playing time, and Arizona State scores a late touchdown to make it look a little bit better. But 34-21, I'm taking Texas. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is that the right pick? Is Texas going to win this game? I would love to see Arizona State win this game. I love Coach Kenny Dillingham. I love Cam Scatterbo. I like Sam Leavitt. I just like the enthusiasm they play with, and I really do like Kenny Dillingham a lot. Young guy. He's just got a chip on his shoulder, and I like that. Let me know in the comments who you got winning the game, Texas or Arizona State. And, make sure to subscribe because as you'll see, I'll put a clip in here promoting my giveaway I'm doing if we can hit 1,000 subs by January 1st. But anyway, it's been your boy TTG. You guys have a great day. God bless, and let's watch these playoffs.